Your third deployment. I
Yeah.
watched your documentary on what happened, but why don't you let the listeners know what happened that day?
Yeah. So I went overseas and we were in a lot of firefights, a lot of combat, a lot of action. And I got a phone call from a village. I didn't. Our, PL and our CO did. Our captain and lieutenants got the call from the village elder saying he needs help. We said, yeah, no problem. Pretty normal, typical thing.
What
We
was your
went out on the.
responsibility at that time? Were you
Well,
one of the
so
minesweepers?
I wasn't a minesweeper.
Okay.
No. I was in charge of the heavy weapons squad. So in the military, it breaks down as like you have, a troop or whatever, like we were. Then you had your platoons. And in my platoon, there is the E7 sergeant first class, who's like platoon leader or platoon sergeant, and then you have 4 E6s. And I was one of the E6 staff sergeants, but I was a senior E6. So out of those 4, I was like the boss of them. So I guess you could say I was like the third highest ranking non-commissioned officer. Even though these guys, the other two of the 3 other E6s, like had more time in the service and longer in their rank. But I was so good at giving compliments to my first sergeant. I was like, hey, first sergeant, haircut looking good today. He's like, oh my gosh, you want a promotion? I'm like, yeah, please. And I'm like, hey, I found this 30 pack. Can you believe it's your favorite kind? Here you go. Another promotion. So brown nosing is my thing. But
Okay.
yeah, I'm good at it. No. So anyway, we went on that patrol and we came to like a short halt. And the guy, we always went on a patrol with the guy with a minesweeper. So he'd sweep the ground not once but twice and check it. And he marked it all clear, nothing alarmed us with the machine he had. And I took my backpack off, a 120-pound backpack, and I set it on the ground. And when it hit the ground, underneath it was actually a bomb. So the bomb erupted, it went off, and I got blown up. And I was thrown, to the left side of my face. When I rolled over, I looked at everything. I was conscious. My right arm was gone. My right leg was completely gone. Like they never found those pieces of me. And then my left hand was still there, but my pinky and ring finger were kind of mangled up, and my wrist was blown out real bad. Like my wrist area in there was blown out bad. And my left leg was dangling with muscle and tendon, so snapped through the bone. If you can imagine your left ankle bone on the outside touching your left thigh. Gruesome, I know, sorry. Just trying to paint that picture, be a little Picasso over here. And I'm laying on the ground, and my medic, Dan Bateson, runs up to work on me. And I'm like, don't worry about it, you're not going to save me. Because in my line of work, unfortunately, I've seen guys die for what I thought was a lot less injury. So like, no way this is going to happen. Don't waste your time. It's all good. And in my head, I keep seeing the movie Saving Private Ryan because the medic in that movie gets shot in the stomach. He cries, he finds out, he's probably not going to live through that shot. He starts crying out for his mom, starts begging not to die. And ultimately he dies. And I've always told myself from day one, never will I be that guy. Like I was first in a firefight, last out, never showed fear, never ducked for cover. Not that I was reckless, but hey, at the end of the day, it is what it is. So I tell the medic and my platoon sergeant, like, don't worry about it, guys. Go save the others. I can hear guys yelling medic that got blown up with me. They ignore that. They put tourniquets on all 4 limbs within 20 seconds. While they're working on me and I'm staying calm, I reach up to my microphone on my chest and I say, hey, 6, this is 4. I got guys injured. I need your medic with mine. And then my other medic come over. He worked on the other 2 guys. Then he came to me. They worked on me. They had to put a sternum IV in. It's the only time I ever had any pain, actually, through this whole thing. Big, huge, like 10 gauge needle or something. They just jam it right through your sternum. And it's like, oh, I was like, what are you doing, you jerk? Little turd bucket.
That's funny because I was about to ask you that. I hear that a lot, is that you don't feel pain.
I didn't.
You get shock?
I guess shock or adrenaline. I couldn't tell you, but it didn't bother me none. And I just, I was like, whatever is what it is type deal. And they got me in a helicopter. They got me to the hospital. And as they're rolling me into surgery, I'm trying to fight the nurse off. I'm like, quit touching me. I'm fine. Leave me alone. I keep sitting up. She keeps pushing me down. And about the 3rd time, she's like, Sergeant Mills, I don't know how you're still awake right now, but you need to go to sleep. And then knocked me out. And then 9 doctors and 7 nurses worked on me, for 14 hours in the initial surgery. 2 nurses for 9 hours, like pump air in and out of my lungs, keep me alive. And I was actually given over 400 units of blood, which is the most blood ever given to anybody in Afghanistan at the time. It might still be the record. I hope it is, because I'm a winner and I like to win. And, they actually ran out of blood. So like people were donating right from their veins to mine. So like for the first 6 to 8 months, I had to keep getting like blood checks to make sure that the blood I got from other people was good or whatever. It's good, just so you know. And yeah, so that's how I spent April 10th. And then while this is all happening, my brother-in-law, who's in Afghanistan, different part, gets a phone call, what happened. He comes because, you know, they don't talk about this very much, but whether you're 17 or you're 75 and you're deploying, you fill out in the Army a thing called a blue book. And it's like the most morbid thing. You basically just plan your funeral. You know, like, I want to be buried here with a military civilian style funeral with this music playing, with these articles in my casket. You know, like real sad. And then the last thing is like, who's going to escort your body home? And of course, you know, I was going to escort him and he was going to escort me type deal. So they called him thinking I was going to die, and he came in, and then they got me stable but critical, and then they flew me to Bagram on April 12th. And they took me in for a clean out because when I did the first surgery, both legs, my right arm were gone, but the left one was still there, the hand. Took me in for surgery and like, no, that's not going to work. So they cut it off. And then 2 days after that, on April 14th, they woke me up for the very first time in Landstuhl, Germany. And when I came to, the only person in the room was my brother-in-law. And I looked over at Josh and I said, you know, my soldiers, how are my soldiers? Because mission first always. And he told me, you know, Ryan's here, Brandon's there, you take most blast, they're going to heal up. They got a little bit of recovery, but, you know, they're going to be okay. I said, all right. And I said, am I paralyzed? And he said, no. And I said, Josh, you don't got to lie to me, bro. I can't put my fingers and toes. Tell me the truth. And he goes, man, I'm not lying. You're not paralyzed, but you don't have them anymore. And I said, oh. And then for 3 hours, I ignored everybody. The doctors would ask questions. The nurses would ask questions. Josh would ask questions. And I was like, nope, I got my own questions. Like, you know, a couple things ran through my head. Am I a bad person? Right? Does God hate me? Like, what did I do wrong in life? How did I deserve this? How can I be a husband and a father? And the biggest question, non-suicidal, and I truly mean that. The biggest question was like, why didn't I just die? Right? A real Forrest Gump, Lieutenant Dan style moment where it's like, how is this going to be better? And then finally, Josh chimed in after 3 hours and was like, look, man, I'm not going to tell you I know what you're going through, but you got to call your parents, you got to call your wife. So I called my wife, and when she answered, one thing I said was, hey, what's up? Fine. Love you, bye. I didn't want to have the conversation. And then my mom and dad, same thing. I was like, hey, what's up? I'm fine. Love you, bye. Blah, blah, blah. And my mom, before I hung up, was like, happy birthday, by the way. You know, because it was my 25th birthday that day. And then 3 days later, made it to Walter Reed. And when I made it to Walter Reed, my wonderful wife came running out to see me. And when she got there, the doctors gave her a clipboard because my right leg split open. They had to cut 2 inches higher. And then my 23-year-old wife with my 6-month-old baby had to make the decision to cut my leg higher. And I'm like, just sign the paper. It's okay. It's okay. Just sign it. Then the next day, she came in the room and we had a conversation. I told her she should probably take what we had, the house, the cars, any money saved up. It was all hers. And she should go. This isn't the life I would choose for her. But, you know, because of obligation and my story being so well known at that point, she couldn't leave then. And now my social media is so big, I'm like, I will ruin you.
She looked like a jerk, wouldn't she?
Yeah. Yeah. So we're together now. No, I'm just kidding. She's like, that's not how this works, you know, and I'm in it for the handicap parking. So I don't say nothing. I just know. She gives me a look. And if I don't do it right, she's going to put me in the closet and take my arms, legs away again.
All right. All right. You unpacked a lot there. Let's reverse a little bit. You get blown up. Do you immediately realize what has happened? Do you realize you're missing an arm and a leg?
Oh, yeah, they're gone. Yeah, no, I'm on my back like a turtle, looking over. I'm looking down at my legs. The other leg just dangling. I was like, that's not good. No, I know exactly what happened.
Okay. And do you have any fear? Are you scared?
Well, I won't show it.
But you had to been.
Probably. But it's just happening so fast that I don't give it time. Because I'm not the guy that's going to cry out in pain. I'm not the guy that if I end up dying, my men are going to be like, man, I remember Sergeant Mills's like screams of pain. I'll give you, for instance, my first like couple days in country, like went on this mission and nobody really knew why I was weapons squad leader. Not that they didn't know why. I was happy and jovial, right? Always smiling and laughing. A lot of guys don't have leadership like me and how I did things because I'll give you the chance to be an adult. If you're not an adult, then I can wreck everything, but I don't want to do that. And I'm very forthcoming about like, look, big kid rules, we're going to have fun. And the minute that you don't act the way you're supposed to and you do the wrong thing and knowingly do the wrong thing, then I'm going to wreck you. But I don't want to get to there because I don't like being mean. So no one really understood like, man, how was Sergeant Mills, like how to get that weapons squad leader spot? Because they saw me get pinned D6. So they knew I wasn't like the senior guy technically. And my first sergeant had been on deployment with me before. So he knew like work is work, play is play. I can separate them. Well, we got in this huge firefight, third day in country. And, you know, we were shooting and moving and we got, in contact, and my guns are barking, that's what they call it with the 240s, like, brrrah, 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 and they're doing what they're supposed to. They trained really well. And the third squad, they're just shooting like crazy. And these two team leaders that know what to do, I went over there and I kicked one in the helmet and the other one in the leg, and I yelled at them. And I said, hey, this is what you're going to do. Stop acting like this is your first time. Get it under control. And then my first sergeant's like, third squad, go get, the guy went down. He's like, go get him. And I was like, nope, you guys stay, keep firing. I threw it, my first sergeant, I said, hey, here, hold this. I passed off my rifle to him, tossed my rifle to him. And then I just ran down to this wadi where they were pinned down getting, stuff. And the guy's like, I can't walk. I'm like, shut up, get on my back. And I threw him on my back and I ran him out. Ran him out, set him down. And then as soon as I got like my water out to take a sip quick, my first sergeant yelling at me, hey, come back. I'm like, oh crap. So then I was there, grabbed my rifle back, and then I was the last one on the, in the firefight, if you will, before we had the Kiowas come on and we popped smoke. And we got back, and these two guys that they were new to our unit but had been in combat before. I was like, hey, we got to replenish this ammo up. Like, who's coming with me? And they both volunteered, and they were like best friends. And they walked over there with me. And they said, look, Sergeant Mills, we had honestly no idea, like, how you got to be weapon squad leader. We're from different leadership. Like, we never saw it before. And they both said, he said, we will follow you to hell and back, like that, done deal. And then my first sergeant was talking to one of the lieutenants, and they're like, geez, what the, and he's like, oh yeah, that's like Sergeant Mills he's fun and happy, but put him in a firefight, he's not right. Like, he's going to get the job done and show no fear. And later on, we got in another firefight, like a couple weeks later, and a sniper round hit between me and my lieutenant's head, like 6 inches. And I ducked in, and I was so mad at myself for ducking in. I hopped up on top of the berm, and I just ripped off a magazine, like 30 rounds plus, magazine and a half before I got back down. And they could see me on they call it a raid camera. They could see me. And one of the guys they call it TOC, was watching. And he's like, that's either the CO or Big Mills. And my first sergeant was in the TOC watching. He goes, yep, that's Big Mills. Because they had two Millses. The other guy was like 6'1", 205 pounds, lifted weights a lot. He's like, why you guys call me little? I'm like, well, he's 6'3", 250 pounds. Like, until you get bigger than him, you're going to have to be little Mills.
You're a big target out there.
Yeah. Yep. This is what it is.